So with the new Jeepers Creepers movie coming out, I kind of wanted to take a second to go back and look at the previous three movies. I'm not going to be able to see the new one till about October 4th, I think, is when it comes on home release. Yeah, it came out in theaters, and I was actually thinking about driving a whole half hour to go see it. But from what I hear, definitely not missing much, but, you know, I'll be the judge of it when I see it myself. So with Jeepers Creepers 1, something that I kind of want to start out with the positives is I really think that they did a great job with the cast, especially Jonathan Breck as the Creeper. That's a performance that's always stuck with me. It's actually a performance that kind of haunted me as a kid when I saw Jeepers Creepers 2, because that was the first one I saw and I caught it on TV. The guy just is absolutely haunting in that movie. Very scary. You also kind of get to see this creature's abilities throughout the movie. It's another situation like Predator where as the tension kind of ratchets up, you kind of see more and more of what it can do, why it's here. Because what the main mystery is it like a person? Is it a demon? Is it a monster? And that's something that slowly kind of gets revealed and what it exactly wants, which I found particularly compelling. Another thing is that the story is extremely well paced. The first half hour really is just these two siblings and their interactions with this creepy truck on the road, what they see going down into that pipe and seeing the bodies all hidden down there. And it's pretty eerie. I think that I could see this completely being based on like a short horror movie or something, or a short story. Just the first half hour, because it's very compelling. It's a hard first act to follow, but it continually succeeds to do that and kind of make things scarier and kind of continue to make the tension higher and higher until it really shows everything that it can do. And it has this great standoff with the main characters and the police. Justin Long and Gina Phillips also give incredible performances in this movie. The terror is completely palpable with their performances, and they really do deliver, and they kind of feel like a real sibling duo. It also makes you really feel for Gina Phillips' character with what happens to Justin Long at the end. I also really think that they made a smart decision not ending it on a note where it's like, oh, we killed the creeper, everybody's safe. They ended it on such a creepy note, on such a down note. It really just feels like a throwback to earlier horror movies, where instead of ending it on this lighter note, which a lot of them tend to do nowadays, and wrapping up the story that way, they ended on such a creepy note. And that's something that I appreciate, because you go away from this movie with it really sticking with you. Whereas I think that if they just killed the creeper and that was it, I think that it wouldn't be as effective and it wouldn't stick with you as much. Some of my critiques of the movie, I really thought that the psychic character was kind of just a bizarre addition to it. It felt like it kind of came out of nowhere. It was very unexplained. I just couldn't get behind the idea of her, but it also feels like she was kind of just this object to spout exposition and kind of tell them, oh, every 23rd spring this thing comes out and eats people. It's very out of nowhere. I just think it kind of takes away from the movie. I think that the information could have been conveyed in a different way. I'm not exactly sure how. Maybe they could have found some other way to do it. I just think that it was kind of lazy to just have this psychic character that knows everything and just tells them everything they need to know. That was just a bizarre choice for me. I also found it not as strong as the second movie. I'm a little bit more partial to the second movie because that's the one that I found first and got me kind of introduced to the creeper. The movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. But I think that going back from 2 to 1 is a little bit of a downgrade. A lot of people disagree with me and think the first one's better, but I just think that the scale and the intensity of the second one matches up a lot better than the first one. So I have a hard time really not comparing them, but I mean, if you compare 1 to 3, then there's not really much of a competition. One's just in its own league compared to the third one. I also, this is kind of unfortunate because this is a very real life issue, but I do feel a little bit icky about watching this movie because of the director, of course, Victor Salva. It's kind of hard to disassociate the movie and the franchise from him, but at the same time, I don't feel it's entirely fair to make the cast and the crew, the VFX artists, everybody else who worked so hard on this movie, that the legacy of the franchise has to be tainted because the one guy is just a completely evil scumbag. But still, it is his vision, so it's hard to entirely disassociate it, but it does make me more hesitant to revisit these movies because you can't help but feel a little bit gross about it. Still though, as far as horror goes, there's not a lot of movies that they make like this anymore. It's definitely rare to get a villain to kind of come into this icon status that the Creeper has, especially in the post-millennia. You don't see that often. You've seen that with, Jigsaw, maybe Art the Clown. Like, very few can live up to that icon status that a lot of other horror villains have. And that's something that I always take away from this, is that it did create a very interesting and creative horror icon. I wish that the franchise was in different, well, it is in different hands now, but I wish it was in more competent hands. And we'll see how the future of this franchise goes, if there is one, but that's something that I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. Thank you for watching my review. Stay posted because I think I'm probably going to be running through the next couple movies within the future, and I guess I'll just see you then.